This episode is brought to you by Nana's Deli. Attention food lovers, have you been to Nana's Bistro yet? If not, you're missing out. Nana's Deli has just unveiled their newly renovated dine-in space, and it's ready for you to enjoy. The updated menu has all your favorites, plus a new star, Food Czar Flats, served with every salad, sandwich, or grill order. But let's not forget the classics that made Nana's famous. Their mouth-watering tuna, legendary sloppy joes, hearty soups, and that unbeatable pastrami sandwich. This is comfort food done right. Got a special occasion? Nana's Bistro is perfect for private events, birthdays, anniversaries, or just because. You name it, they'll make it unforgettable. Since 1981, Nana's has been a tradition, and they're still going strong. And if you're in Jersey City, you already know, Nana's is there too, bringing their signature flavors to your neighborhood. So what are you waiting for? Stop by Nana's, enjoy your favorites, and don't forget those Food Czar Flats. Nana's Deli, serving tradition, flavor, and love since 1981. Mention Food Czar Podcast to receive 10% off your next order. Go to nanasdeli.com for more information. Let me tell you about Steeplechase Estate Sales and Services, because I've seen firsthand how incredible they are. My good friend Craig Reiner runs the show, and if you're in northern New Jersey, there's no one better to trust your estate sale with. Craig was raised in Livingston, so he knows the families, the history, and exactly how to get the best value for your items. I've personally used Steeplechase, and let me tell you, Craig makes the process easy, stress-free, and actually fun. Whether you're downsizing, handling an estate, or just looking for hidden treasures, his expertise and personal touch make all the difference. If you want someone who truly cares about your sale and treats your belongings with respect, call Steeplechase Estate Sales and Services today. Give Craig a call at 973-556-7433. Tell Craig the Food Czar sent you, and as Craig always says, let's have a Steeplechase day. Mention Food Czar Podcast at your next Steeplechase sale to receive a discount.
This is Behind the Counter.
Behind the Counter
with the Food Czar. Here's Heidi.
Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Counter with the Food Czar. And this week's episode, if you told me in 1986 when I won Class Clown that I'd be sitting here with one of the gubernatorial candidates and interviewing him, I think everyone in my graduating class would think this is crazy. So I am welcoming Josh Gottheimer to the podcast. Welcome, Josh.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime. Food Czar. So here's the deal, Josh. I am as the Food Czar, I am remaining a neutral platform, and I welcome any candidate to come speak with the Food Czar, which is shocking that anyone would, but thank you for coming.
It's my pleasure.
So I think the approach today...
And we're in the Ritz Diner.
We're in the Ritz... I was going to give the plug. We're in the Ritz Diner.
Yeah, I was excited about this.
I feel like every candidate does the diner tour, especially in Jersey. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah, I am. I actually launched my campaign in a diner.
Which diner?
Right by Teterboro, the airport diner. There's a diner right next to Teterboro.
Oh, really?
Yeah, airport. Which is right like in Bergen County where I'm from.
Yep.
And so, believe it or not, I launched my campaign because I think everything good starts in a diner.
I'm with you.
I'll probably ultimately get whacked in a diner, but I started in a diner. And then
Don't go to Holston's then.
That's true. And then I went on a 21 county diner tour.
Wow.
Diners in every county in the state of New Jersey. And because I think it's the best place to talk to people and listen to them and hear what's on their mind.
I mean, if if anyone that's listening, there's a table of guys sitting behind Josh, and I said, I think you may need to stop over and give them
We'll
a little,
work 'em.
give them some handshakes. So let's talk about little Josh, okay? Little Josh.
Okay.
So tell me about the path.
When's Big Josh coming?
Big Josh is coming at the end of the story. So little Josh, let's talk about let's get to know you.
Sure.
Right?
So I grew up in. I'm a Jersey guy through and through.
You better be.
My family's we're multi-generation Jersey. My great-grandparents actually, when they moved here, went to Linden and Newark.
Sure.
Originally, and then down the road, my mother went to Asbury Park High School.
Oh, that's amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
Which, and then explains why I have relatives who were from Ocean Township.
Yeah.
And Monmouth. And then my dad grew up in West Orange.
Yeah.
So Essex County. And then I grew up in North Caldwell. I went to West Essex High School.
Oh, big rivalry
Knights,
with Livingston.
big rivalry
No,
with Livingston.
Lancers, baby. Come on.
And I think we usually won.
I don't
And
think so. See,
and
you're
then-
a politician.
And
Yeah.
then I now live in Bergen County. So that was my big move. We
Okay.
tried a new county.
Sure.
And my wife and I are raising our two kids, Ellie and Ben.
Amazing.
Ellie is 15, almost 16. And my son Ben is 13.
Good times, right?
Good times.
So, Josh
13 is like
was
my son is in the bruh phase.
I've got one of those, by the way.
Uh-huh.
So, was the goal always to be where you are today? Like, what was the? Were you always like, I want to be in politics? I'm the man of the people. What's the story?
I grew up, and then when I as pretty young, I worked for President Clinton as an intern.
Okay.
Like in the Clinton White House, and then I volunteered in an office in Livingston.
Oh, really?
In his first campaign in '92, licking envelopes, and stuffing envelopes.
Yeah.
For him, actually not far from where we're sitting right now.
Oh, that's so funny.
I forgot about that. And then I ultimately interned for him, and then I went to go work for him as a speechwriter. I was a Senate page for Frank Lautenberg, meaning like I was down in Washington.
Sure.
Our senator then, who I was a big fan of. And then I took some other jobs, and then I ultimately worked in the White House as a speechwriter for President Clinton his last few years, and then worked in politics a little more on some presidential campaigns, and then left politics and went to go work at Ford Motor Company, and eventually and a company called Burson Marsteller, and then eventually
Sure,
Microsoft,
advertising,
and then
I know
Microsoft,
it.
Right, advertising.
Yep.
And then eventually Microsoft. I did corporate strategy, worked on the cloud, and then so I had no plans. It wasn't like I had some sort of strategy to run for something, but I was living in Bergen County at that time, and our congressman, this guy, his name is Scott Garrett, was part of one of the founders of the Freedom Caucus.
Okay.
Real Tea Party.
Yep.
Very extreme right, and said gay people shouldn't be able to run for Congress, and was anti-woman, and didn't make any sense to me. And I said, well, he doesn't seem to represent our values here.
Yeah.
And so I ran, and I put up a lawn sign said lower taxes, Jersey values, and ran. And everyone told me there was no way you're going to win because no Democrat had won the seat in 84 years.
Wow.
So they said, oh, yeah, you want to go ahead? Sure, take your shot, kid.
Yeah.
And I did, and it worked.
And
we won,
defied the odds.
Defied the odds, and we won.
Yeah.
First, the only actually gubernatorial candidate ever beat a sitting Republican, and win an election against a Republican.
Wow.
So that was it was a big upset, and then they said, well, that'll be the last time you win. Because this is, by the way, people kept saying to me, this is not a district for somebody like you here.
Right.
And so, and then now I just won my 5th term.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, so now Murphy's done, and you're saying I'm going to throw my hat in the ring, and I want to be the guy for New Jersey.
Listen, I'm a fighter type, like a get stuff done guy. I got to Washington, and I helped start this group called the Problem Solvers Caucus. It's bipartisan, Democrats and Republicans. And end up focusing on issues that people say were impossible. Like, could you actually get a gun safety bill done, bipartisan? We
Right.
did. Could you get the infrastructure bill done, which was everyone had always talked about it, but couldn't get the resources to build this tunnel between New York and New Jersey, the Gateway Train Tunnel, fix our roads, our bridges, investment in mass transit. They said impossible. We did it in a bipartisan way. I led that in the House.
Right.
And during the pandemic, I led the first major pandemic bill to get PPP resources and the some resources for the vaccine. And I expanded the child tax credit to help. Again, bipartisan. People said it was impossible. We did it.
Right.
So my feeling Jersey now, listen, what people will tell you is impossible is that we can't make Jersey more affordable, that we can't get taxes down, that we can't get our costs down for people. We have the highest property taxes in the country. As you
We're the number one. Yeah.
Highest corporate taxes in the country. Highest, we got second highest child care costs in the country. Some of the highest income taxes in the country. So we keep losing people and jobs.
Yep.
And so it's not a great recipe for a future of a great state like ours, which I
Yep.
love.
Yep.
Our beaches, our lakes, our great diners. I love it all.
Yeah.
Right? But the bottom line is we got to make life more affordable. People keep telling me, and when I go to these diners and sit down with them, is I love it here. It's just too damn expensive. Like, I can't retire here. I can't actually, my kids aren't staying when they graduate.
Yep.
Like, what do I do?
Yeah.
And so my number one focus, I'm running as a lower taxes, lower cost governor. to try to make life more affordable for people, and I got a plan to do it.
So, okay, so I would say number one, I think on a state level, I think whether you're Republican, whether you're Democrat, matters less in a sense, because I think we all, New Jerseyans, have the same goal, and it's what you said, right? So it sounds great, lower costs, right?
How do we do it?
How do we do it?
Yeah.
And can you do it? And here's the other thing I would say. I think a lot of people over the past, let's say 10 years or whatever it is, have lost faith in politics in general, no matter what side you're
Definitely.
on. Right?
Yep,
So
agree.
how, you sitting here, how do people who are listening trust what you're saying and say you're the guy?
So there's a reason why I just won by 12 points and Harris only won by 1 point in my district. I think people have seen how I've governed. I've got a very long record of actually delivering stuff. People will tell you stuff's impossible, as I just said.
Yep.
Right? That is like, and listen, political people will tell me, well, how are you gonna actually get costs under control here? How are you gonna actually lower taxes? And I say, well, all these other states, including Connecticut, just cut their income taxes and are running a more efficient state than ours. So the answer is just, well, we just can't do it here, or we just haven't had the stones to do it. And the bottom line is I do. And so I put out a tax cut plan. It's expert backed. I worked with all these people, all the accountants and all these experts over the years who've gone to other states and helped fix things, right? And turn them around and got costs down and taxes down. And so there's 3 major ways that we're going to actually be able to deliver tax relief for people. First, we got to run a more efficient state government. And we also have 564 towns in the state of New Jersey. 564.
Wow.
And we have more superintendents than we do mayors.
Wow.
So we have lots of everything, and so we don't share enough and work together enough. And in the state level, we don't buy things as a state. We buy things often as a town
Or
in
a
our
county.
state or county. And our state, we don't negotiate really hard on our how we buy insurance, how we buy prescription drugs.
Right.
When we buy salt, we buy by town. We don't buy it as a state, 560 for the roads, and buy 564 bulk. We don't buy Costco.
Right. I was going to say,
Right?
it's like going to Costco.
Right, we
yeah.
we go to Wawa and buy a roll of toilet paper instead of buying 100 at Costco.
Sure.
And we do this for everything. And the state itself, like with the way we with prescription drugs is a very expensive part of what we spend for our state employees and retirees. We don't really, like other states have really negotiated well.
Yeah.
We don't really negotiate. We say, we'll take care of so-and-so. And instead of actually doing it and running things smart. And 20 states have done these efficiency reports. Everything from, like, should we keep our lights on overnight at the state, at our state offices?
Right.
Like, how are we utilizing all of our state buildings? Should we be renting some of those out? We're not using them.
Yeah.
What are we doing to actually encourage growth in the state and get more jobs here? What incentives are we giving out? So we got to run things more efficiently. That's worth 5 to 8% savings without cutting programs, but just running them smarter in our state. You've been to the DMV? That's a disaster.
Yes.
Right? I was talking to some guy who runs one of the DMV branches yesterday, and he says to me, oh, you have no idea. 40% of people just don't show up every day who work there.
I'm sure.
Like, you can't believe what goes on. He told me somebody punched a customer and they're still employed. You can't get fired. You punch a customer.
Wow.
Right. So that's what we're talking about here. So that's 5 to 8%. Secondly, New York totally screws us.
Yes,
every
they
which
do.
way. Forget the congestion tax, which I've been fighting for years, and hopefully finally we're going to kill this thing, which is
Good.
the toll, the extra
Yep.
$9 they want to charge to drive into Midtown.
Yeah.
Not a nickel to New Jersey. Screws our people, and on top of that, it adds more pollution because we're now having more trucks avoiding this congestion zone backed up by the GW Bridge.
Yep.
The Port Authority, we pay about 70% of the toll revenue that goes to the Port Authority.
Yeah.
We get about 40% back into New Jersey for our capital projects, for our airports, for our ports, for our bridges and tunnels. New York totally rips us off on every front. And if you work in New Jersey, if you're sitting here at like this table, you're doing your work, but you work for a New York company, they take the income tax in New York.
Oh.
It's $4 billion a year.
Yeah, that's not right.
No. And by the way, other states have fought this and gotten it back. We should have it back here. New York shouldn't be taking that.
No.
Then you have so the New York piece is worth a bunch of money. We've got about $650 million in tax cheats a year, people who just don't pay their taxes, and we haven't chased them hard. We're not great at getting money back from Washington into New Jersey. Rhode Island gets 48% back of the tax dollars for projects in their state than we do. I'm talking about for our colleges, for our roads, for our bridges, for our cops and firefighters.
Right.
We're just not running an efficient great state. and I'm going to run it much better. I'm going to use my private sector experience, my public sector experience, and bring that to bear. And we'll with this money we save, and with the growth we're going to get by getting more jobs to our state with incentives, we're going to be able to cut your taxes.
Okay, because I'm going to say, number one, living in Livingston, I think some of the issues that people may have is our property taxes go up every year. So there's got to be a cap to it, right?
It's brutal.
It's brutal. I mean, every year it goes up. Every year that everyone's getting assessed, every year everyone's freaking out, and deservedly so.
And yet they just come up with new ways to tax us.
Number two is, like, I know in a town like Livingston, like many other suburban towns, our schools are being overrun. The housing is popping up all over the place and making the town very congested, right? Like the streets, I mean, you drive around Livingston at 3 o'clock and you can't go anywhere. It's jammed with people. How do we resolve that? Give a little breathing room, more schools in the suburbs, more, things like that.
So it's a great question. My plan gives a property tax cut of 15% across the board. It cuts middle class income taxes. It gives renters a rebate. And then it gives incentives to seniors who stay here when they turn 70. If they live here a decade, they get a senior bonus, I call it, to stay here because they'll keep investing in our economy. I don't want them leaving when they retire.
And going to Florida.
Right, they leave.
Yeah.
And they don't pay taxes here.
Yeah.
And then that hurts us.
Yeah.
But we're 220,000 units short on the housing front. We just haven't kept up. So what that's meant is prices are hot, right? Prices keep going up. Rents are up 33% over the last 3 years. So prices keep going up on all fronts. And to your point, we need more housing that's more affordable, but there's a lot of places in the state we're not utilizing that actually have capacity, and we jam them into the same places every time, to your point.
Yes.
Instead of actually looking at the map and saying, well, where are there some more rural areas where we can get some growth, which, by the way, there are.
Yep.
Are there places by mass transit that we could be getting more growth? Are there government buildings and office parks that are empty where we could be smarter about adding more growth, more housing that's not just jamming in the middle of where the other housing is already?
Yeah.
And we just got to be thinking strategically with a map with this instead of, we don't really have a plan, but we got to build more housing that's more affordable for folks, especially kids right out of school, like on workforce housing, senior housing. That's less pressure on schools, but actually serving a need that we have, especially for young workforce housing. That we need.
So I am the food czar.
Okay.
So okay, and I do. What I do is I help give exposure to the restaurant owners and to sort of help them connect to the community. So if I was going to represent the restaurants, I know they struggle a lot with the cost of goods, the lack of liquor licenses in New Jersey. Do you have any plan for that? So, because I know a lot of restaurant owners do listen to this, and they know that I'm going to ask questions like that. So, what would you say to them if they were listening?
Well, the first thing on the food price, you got a few big ticket items that are way up, right? Besides childcare, as I mentioned, and things like utility bills are going up 20%. Set to go up 20. I don't know if you know this. Utility bills are going up 20% in June.
Oh, great! Thanks for the good news.
Yeah, which is outrageous because we haven't kept up with our energy needs.
Yeah.
So we have supply demand.
Yep.
We don't have enough supply, and I'm for alternative energy, but I think you also need all the above because if we don't get more energy into New Jersey, right now we're buying, believe it or not, a lot of energy from West Virginia, coal energy.
Yeah.
Because we don't have enough, so we import all this other energy because we don't produce enough for ourselves. And that's going to hit restaurants and all businesses in New Jersey in a major way.
Yeah.
Secondly, the food prices, we've got a huge, and I've been dealing with this nationally too, one of the biggest challenges we have is you've got meat and poultry there's got 4 processors in the country who actually take the cattle and take the chickens and actually process them and deliver them. Beef and meat prices are up, and poultry prices are up more than 10% just in the last year, and they're predicting another 10% this year.
Wow.
And this monopoly or an oligopoly has kept it strong. We don't have any processing. We don't have any real processing in New Jersey, which I actually think we should because we have where we are on the highway would make a lot of sense, and the arteries of our turnpike 95 make a lot of sense for us to actually have processing here and get the cost. We need more processors so there's more competition to get the prices down. It's not that there's not enough beef, or it's that there's not enough processing. Now, egg prices are a whole separate problem.
Of course.
And I've got a whole separate plan that I put out on that. But we have to have more competition in the processing side, And listen, the supply chain has gotten better, but we're still not there, and they haven't given back. There's been more capacity, and they didn't give any savings back. Like the shipping companies, they haven't really turned around and given up the savings back, which affects the restaurant owners and the consumers. Listen, on the liquor front, they've made some changes, as you know, on the liquor. They just changed a bunch of the liquor policies to allow some more flexibility, more licensing into these towns. In some cases, some more beer. Right, like beer and wine, not just liquor. And I think you're right to say we have to, in towns where people are squatting, we've got a lot of squatters. Like where they own these licenses and then they refuse to do anything with them. And
they hold on to them.
Close down. It's like a medallion with the old taxi cab medallions.
Correct, yeah.
And I think that's wrong. If you own it, like, right, you can't, a town can't just have a bunch of squatters. And there's got to be rules around the squatters, in my opinion. Because actually, like in a town I used to live in, Wyckoff, like there were several squatters, and so like the town was struggling because they were holding on to them until they got the price they wanted. So they sat for years and years and years.
And then a new place can't open up with a liquor license, and then it does help the restaurant owners when they can sell liquor because that's where their margins are the biggest, really.
Yeah, and
right?
listen, people also want to go out in the town and have like, what they want in a restaurant. They don't know so they don't always want BYOB.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get to the fun questions. If you were governor, you were going to be governor for all of New Jersey.
Yes.
So I'm sure you've been asked these questions before, but for people who are listening, and
I don't know what you're going to ask, so
I am the food czar, so I need to know, is it Taylor ham or pork roll?
Taylor ham.
Thank you. Good. Do you eat your pizza with a fork and knife?
With a fork and knife?
Yeah, good. Well, I like it. You've never heard that before?
No, but like not in New Jersey. You
I
got to
know,
fold
but
it.
You fold it. Exactly. Do you like thin
I've never
crust
actually.
or thick?
Have you seen people in Jersey eating with a fork and knife?
No, and
pizza?
I would kick them out if I did.
By the way, you should like immediately. Like I don't think you could stay in the state of New Jersey.
Do you like
if you
thin
did
crust
that.
or thick crust?
Thin.
Okay, me too. Like a bar pie?
Yeah, and where like and you have like a favorite place for that or no?
I mean, I can't say,
divulge?
but I can't divulge. Do you have a favorite place?
What do you think I'm answering that? What are you nuts? I will tell you though that growing up, my stepfather had his 60th birthday party at Vic's.
Oh, and Bradley.
Like that's not, but I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that's
No,
like
I
my
gotcha.
preference. I'm just saying that like that was a
Vic's is
there was
one
a
of-
big family weekend place where we would drive to the windmill
Yes, of course.
and then go to Vic's.
There's the
That was
windmill
like a
is in Asbury,
right,
and
'cause
yeah, it's
my
on the
mom
same
grew
street.
up in Asbury,
Yep.
so you might imagine we went down that area a lot. So there was like a two-stopper.
Yep.
So you had to stop for a pup, as Harry, my stepfather call it, a pup at the windmill.
Yep.
And then you go to Vic's for a slice.
Right on Main Street.
Right?
It's amazing.
There were a lot of weekend, like before the Giants game.
Oh, good.
Like you go early.
So there's South Jersey who are Eagles fans,
Yep.
and there's
I mean, it took
us.
Saquon. I mean, like, that
I
was
know.
big for them this year.
all right. So listen, we're gonna wrap it up because I know you have to go, but give your last for anyone that's listening. And like I said, it doesn't matter politically if you're a Republican or a Democrat. You were running for governor for the people of New Jersey.
Yes.
So give them your closing line, Josh. Let's hear it.
Listen, my job is going to be to make your life more affordable, right? To take on the costs of to make Jersey a place that you can stay and your kids can stay and you can retire, and to make sure you can afford to do it, which is why I'm going to get your taxes down, your costs down. I'm going to be obsessively focused on running this state in that way, growing this great state, and making sure we live up to our values as a state. Right, this is a place where, like many of us, believe deeply in clean air and clean water, and so I believe deeply in reproductive freedom and gun safety. There's certain things that I believe deeply in, but I'll tell you, like I can't have people tell me like I love it here, I'm dying to stay here, but like I just can't afford it here, and so I'm leaving. Nothing breaks my heart more, and by the way, nothing kills me more when they tell me they're moving to New York or Pennsylvania. Like that's like the worst dagger.
Because you're crossing the
that's
border.
Worst
You're
dagger,
crossing-
and that's
yeah.
the worst dagger in my heart.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with New Jersey. I want people to stay in Jersey. And not only do we have great natural resources like our beaches and our lakes in Springsteen and our great diners, like we have so much going for us here.
Yeah.
And it's a great place to raise a family. We it's great, safe neighborhoods, and I'm all about making sure we keep them safe. And people feel safe, and listen, we're gonna have to do a lot of fighting to protect it. Anyone who messes with Jersey, I'm gonna mess with. I solve problems, not afraid to fight, and you can ask anyone. Like the only way you get all this stuff done is you're willing to talk to people, and then when they screw with you, you mess with them back, and you protect Jersey. That's what this has got to be about.
That's Jersey,
That is
right there,
Jersey.
baby.
Don't
That's Jersey.
Don't mess with us.
So my last question is: do you think you're the guy?
I know I'm the guy.
I like it. Okay.
But the bottom line is this.
Yeah.
Like if you have I'm willing to talk and with anybody. If anyone has any questions, they should reach out, and you can find me joshforjersey.com. You can find not only my positions, but you can find me if you have any. You can email me a question. I got a cell number on there. You can call.
I'll put it in the episode description also.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad you're doing this for people. It's really important. So
Thank you.
for what you're doing.
And thank you for doing this today. And for
Thanks.
everybody that's listening, the most important thing is to educate yourself on who's running for governor.
Yes.
And who you trust, and you should get out and vote.
You got to vote.
You
Don't
gotta
forget,
vote.
June 10th is the primary.
June 10th.
You can register until April 16th. You can vote by mail. There's all different ways you can vote. You can vote in person. You can vote early. There's all different ways. But the bottom line is you got to participate.
If you care about Jersey, you
care,
got to vote.
you gotta
That's
vote.
it. End of story. Josh, thank you so
much.
much.
Thanks for
I
having
wish
me.
you the best of luck
Thanks for
on the
having me. Have
rest
a
of
great
the
week.
campaign trail.
Thank you.
Thank you. If you are hearing this message, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I'm truly grateful for you and this opportunity. The purpose of the Behind the Counter podcast is to bring food, people, and community together. I hope you'll return for more episodes and explore with me. I want to personally thank Fran Linnell of Design 68 for my amazing Behind the Counter podcast logo, and Travis Lohenberg for my awesome Behind the Counter music, and all the guests that take their time to sit and talk with me. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please leave a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you hear your podcasts. If you'd like to support the Behind the Counter podcast, please subscribe, share with your friends and family, and you can follow me on Instagram at Heidi Blum. If you have any feedback or stories that you want to share, you can email me at foodsarbtc@gmail.com.